Hey, everybody, what's up? Justin Skizik here from the Rise Up podcast. I am really blessed to have some time with the one and only Samantha Guillen. She is the CEO and the co-founder of Swift Leads AI, which is a really amazing AI voice tool. Or we'll dive into that in a little bit, specifically for luxury real estate agents and brokers. So, Samantha, hi, welcome to the Rise Up podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, we're going to kind of start broad. I start kind of broad story here, and then we'll kind of dive into the specifics. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into the luxury industry? And then how did Swift Leads come about?
Yeah, so long story short was I grew up in New York. I was going to school at NYU. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I was doing modeling, here and there. I was in finance, but I knew that I didn't want to be in finance. And so what ended up happening is I had modeling jobs out in LA. And at the time, everybody out there was a YouTuber. Everybody was in the social media scene. And in New York, no one was really doing that yet. So it kind of like opened my eyes to a different world that, hey, you don't have to go into something that you're not fully passionate about. You can do your passion and make money. So I ended up kind of like getting into the social media scene and meeting a bunch of people. And I came across someone who was starting up a digital marketing agency. And I was really, really interested. And so I ended up taking a leap of faith. I was like 21 years old. And so I dropped school for a bit and moved to LA for this business, helped build it all up. And, we really just learned on the job. And I think that's the best way to learn things. It's like learning through a startup. I got some real world business experience there. But from there, I kept on sticking with social media and sticking with digital marketing. But on the luxury side, we dealt with clients such as like Rolls-Royce North America, some other big names in the scene like Watches of Switzerland. But I ended up getting homesick of New York. And when I came back to New York, which was back in 19, at this time, people were starting to take social media serious. And so I decided, you know what? I want to start my own thing out here on the East Coast. So I started working in-house. I wanted to see what it was like to work for a big brand in-house. So I worked with Watches of Switzerland. I worked with Bulgari. So it's been a great ride, but I really wanted to pivot after that. I was with Bulgari for about 3-4 years, and I really wanted to get into the AI space because that was like what was really interesting to me at the time. And yeah, I didn't know my in until I had a friend reach out, which is I'm really big into networking, and your network is your net worth, because this person connected me with someone who was starting a business in the luxury real estate AI scene, and they wanted someone with a luxury background to join the team. And so I quickly jumped on that, and here we are. I've been with them ever since.
So what is it about what draws you to the luxury industry? I mean, what are the things that that really resonate
Yeah,
with you?
I think because I didn't grow up in Manhattan. Now I live in Manhattan. You can see it from the buildings in the background. But I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs right outside of New York City. And to me, the proximity to the city was always kind of like this allure, this thing that I wanted to conquer, this thing I wanted. And coming into the city, everybody's into fashion. You're on the streets, people are always wearing heels, dressing up. You don't see that in a small town. So that always drew my attention. And I really wanted to learn luxury, not just, kind of like know the brand names and stuff like that. And I've always had the eye for it. If it wasn't what I'm doing now, I always say I would go into like interior designing or like fashion designing, maybe somewhere down the line. Never say never. It's never too late. So that's always been a passion.
Excellent. What kind of describe to me, how did Swift Leads come about? Like how did you, I mean, you're kind of, in the space and you're working and you're kind of going from one place to the next. Like how did you get from there to Swift Leads? How did that all begin?
Yeah, I mean, I have actually my mortgage license.
Okay.
So I did, sell mortgages for a little bit, kind of like in between jobs, like in college, like that was kind of like my side hustle, but it was still active. So I know a thing or two about real estate. And I never had kind of like the cojones to go ahead and get my real estate license to be a real estate agent, but I've always been super interested in the real estate world. I when the intersection of luxury and AI and real estate came about, that is what truly interested me. So, yeah, that's where it really piqued my interest.
So who's the you said you're co-founder, so who's the other partner in the business?
Yes. So my partner is more on the technical side. He comes from a more technical background.
Oh, okay.
He's more of a developer.
Okay.
He's done this many times. He's been successful in the space. So, he's kind of like a big mentor of mine in the AI space because AI is not just in one sector. It's in every sector. And so me combining my knowledge and the luxury side of things and him combining his background in the technical and more techie side of things, it came together and we have a really good synergy, and that's how it came about. So
So describe, if somebody doesn't know what Swift Leads is, what's your 30-second elevator pitch, or what do you tell people about what it is and what you do?
we're the only full service CRM/voice AI system specifically for real estate agents and brokerages. So to put it into perspective, if you're a real estate agent, I was literally just at a real estate event actually with these people on this Netflix show, which is so funny. But I was telling them about it as well because they're very interested. If you're a real estate agent and you're showing a $20 million penthouse, right? And you're getting calls left and right and you got to go to showings. Let's say you get a call from someone who's an actual buyer while you're showing a listing to someone who's not. Like let's just say I am the person who's wasting time. I just want to go see the $20 million house, right? Um, you're losing a client right there, because most people, when they're looking to buy, you're not really looking at the real estate agent's credentials. You're just
Mhm.
looking at who's available, who's next. Like when I'm looking at for a place in Manhattan, I'm like ready. I'm like, I know what I want, I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to go to whoever is going to pick up the phone first. So that's where Swift Leads AI comes in. You don't have to worry about having to, go to this guy and that guy and, have to manage all of these people. It manages and qualifies the leads for you. So it's a really great system. It tackles really complex and sophisticated questions. It can be tailored to any language, any accent. I speak 3 languages. So, I've seen the system work in Spanish and Portuguese. We do Arabic. I mean, we have like 30 plus different languages. So we're
Wow.
worldwide. Yeah.
Very cool. So what would you, kind of diving into that a little bit more, like how would you describe the type of clients, like who would be the ideal customer for you? Like
That's a good question. The ideal customer for us is a brokerage that is ready to step into the tech space and is at the forefront of the tech space. So for example, someone like a Surhand. I don't know if you're familiar with.
yeah. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was literally just at an event with his right hand man, because I was trying to explain to him that this ties in perfectly to what they're doing. They already have their own AI system that they built up. However, they're missing that voice AI component. When you have, maybe not for someone who's like has heavy skin in the game and has the connections already, and is really like well connected in the city, but let's say you're a real estate agent that's starting out and in a team and like you're sitting on 60,000 leads, right? You're not going to call 60,000 people. Who has time for that, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Nobody.
calling. Exactly. But if you're not calling those people, somebody is. And so that's where the Swift Leads AI software comes in and really helps those agents that are starting out, especially that want to get into that top 1%.
Okay.
So
So is that what really kind of sets you apart from kind of other players? Are there other players in their space that do what
there,
you do?
yes,
Yeah.
there are other competitors in the space. However, we built our software completely ourselves. Like a lot of these other platforms, I don't want to say BS, but they're BS. They use their platform from other, like an open AI or so.
Okay. So in kind of in your in this field of AI and integrating AI within luxury real estate, what kind of shifts are you seeing in the industry right now? Are you seeing a lot more agents willing to adapt to AI, or are you finding them being resistant?
Yeah, there is a lot of resistance. And I think that resistance comes from intimidation. I think people are really intimidated and scared. I mean, I think this is across the board though. People are fighting back on AI because they're fearful that they're going to lose their jobs. When in reality, I think that's quite the opposite. I think that people don't realize that AI is going to enhance people's jobs because for example, I was talking to a really close friend of mine who runs like this production company. And I'm like, I asked him, I was like, so how are you guys handling things? Because like now we have VO3. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah, video,
Yeah,
yeah.
where you could just create these full-blown productions that look realistic. So I asked him, what do you like, how are you guys adopting this? And he's like, this is literally like this is perfect for us because we have the creative strategy to do the prompting, right? Because you still have to put in the prompt and prompt the AI to get that creative idea. It's not just gonna magically appear. Yeah, it just makes their job easier, if anything.
Okay. So
Right now, I don't know
right now,
the
yeah,
future of AI
yeah,
is once we hit AGI, ASI, where it's able to think on its own.
I know that's gonna be really interesting.
Conversation, which I don't
It
think
is.
where I have the answer to. I don't think a lot of people have the answer to. I think like people who are like really, really behind the scenes, no, but yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. But as of right now, I mean, we still have many years till that. Like it's still not replacing people fully.
Yeah. So what a part of like with Swift Leads, what's really getting your attention the most these days? I mean, you know, is it you're trying to get more sales, you're trying to get more people adopting the platform? Are tariffs and the economy playing into things? Like what would you say is your main focus at this moment?
Our main focus is driving in revenue and driving in business. And the beauty of it is that it's all online. So we're not just subjected to New York. I mean, me being in New York is a major plus because we're like one of, if not the top player in real estate in the world in terms of luxury. But my partner is situated in AI.
In Dubai.
My partner's situated in Dubai, originally from London. We met through a close friend. So yeah, he's out there, and out there, they're way more advanced than New York from what I see in terms of AI and the adoption of AI. They're investing trillions of dollars into AI, and I think that what I'm fearful of is that places like China and the Middle East are gonna, beat us out because people are just still using basic chat GPT and not really taking a lot of these tools seriously.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with you. Being a growth consultant myself, I use AI a lot in different facets. I haven't really delved too much into the voice side of things like you do. I'm fully aware of it. I know like different platforms that do it. So what you've developed is truly a need because it really is the case where an agent is too busy or either or a broker too busy running their agency or people showing properties that they're going to need to
Yeah,
if they don't capture those leads,
yeah,
that's a missed opportunity
yeah,
right there. Like, is it
yeah,
a guaranteed sale? No, but is it better to
yeah,
capture that and have that conversation versus completely miss it? Yes. So I wholeheartedly
exactly.
agree with you. And we could probably nerd out.
The other day I read something stating that women are really the most at risk for AI taking their jobs because women are the majority are in remedial jobs, kind of like a secretary, an assistant,
Hmm.
a model. So those are jobs that are actually really the most at risk. And, you know, 80% of real estate agents are women. Funny fun fact, but of the 1%, the majority of them are men. So in an industry that is 80% women, why is it that the 1% of top real estate agents are men? It's very interesting.
That is interesting. I never thought of that
Yeah, it's
at
a
all.
real fact. It's a real fact.
What what would you think your hunch would be of why? You can speak freely.
I don't know the complete answer to that, but I have to say, I don't know, sexism. Sexism still very much exists. People taking women less serious. These are things that I deal with, right? Myself. So that would just be my idea. I would have to see more statistics on exactly
Yeah.
why people think that's true. But this is just from my own perspective. I think that that is the reason why. But yeah, I
Well,
think
I
a
would
technology
probably look at it this way. You flip it on its head. Well, if the real estate world is made up of high percentage of it's female dominated, then if they were to adopt strategies like this, they would outperform the male
yes.
counterparts.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of women in business and,
Yeah, me
like
too. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that there's this stigma that you have to lose your femininity in order to be a successful businesswoman, but I don't yeah, but it's it is a thing, right? Like people do when people think of like this successful businesswoman, they think of this strong, not feminine woman, and I don't think that's true. I think you can keep both. I mean, there's so many
Yeah, of course.
examples in the media of that. Women are a lot of them are intimidated by it. You know, a software like this would 1,000% help women because being a woman is not easy and also very time consuming, right? Like you
Yeah.
guys just have to get out of bed and throw something on and you're on your way. But
Look at me, I'm like I'm not even shaven. Like you're all looking all nice and dialed in. I look horrible. Yeah.
makeup and hair, and that is all time consuming. And especially in the real estate industry, you have to look good. Like if you watch these shows like Selling Sunset, Owning Manhattan, the women are
They're
dressed to
like
the nines and
dialed.
makeup, hair. That's all time consuming. So that takes about 3, 4, how many hours, not including all the maintenance out of your time, right? And then you got to keep up with all the clients and everything. It's so yeah, I'm a big proponent of this software helping women in the industry.
So okay, so with kind of like I'm gonna kind of switch gears a little bit.
Mhm.
With kind of AI and the business model that you've built or building, and continuing to get more clients and grow what you're doing, what are some of the most kind of exciting business wins you've had so far this year? Do you have any examples of somebody who's used your platform and, you know, I don't know if you have something you can speak to on that, that would be great. Like,
Yeah, well, right now, I guess the most exciting right now is we're in the middle of closing one of the biggest, I think, top two largest communications company out in the Middle East. It's like $1 billion company. They're not they're not in the real estate industry. They're white labeling our services. However, that's still super, super a huge win for us.
wow, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, because like I said, our platform is fully customizable. Although we're focusing mainly on brokerages and real estate agents, we're able to customize to people's likings in any way. And yeah, and that's the beauty of it is that since we've developed it entirely ourselves, we can tailor it to any way we want.
So, speaking of tailoring it, describe to me if you can, if they're trade secrets, you don't have to divulge that. I'm not going for that, but can you customize it to an agent's voice? So, like, how do
Yep.
you like describe kind of the back end if someone was to sign up for Swiftleads?
Someone who
How
kind
does
of
that
like
work?
doesn't know, I guess. Yeah. So there's this platform called 11 Labs, if you're familiar
Yeah,
with.
yeah, the
Yeah.
voice. Yeah,
So yeah, so 11 Labs is probably the best, I think, in cloning people's voices. So we
yeah, they're
can
good.
essentially connect 11 Labs to our platform so you can record your voice. Like to get the highest quality on 11 Labs, you got to sit there for like 2 hours so it could really capture your voice and use a really good mic for that. I went ahead and did that, and it sounds like I was scared. It sounds exactly like me. And we tested my voice to our free demo on our website that you guys can all go try actually. But my voice is not on there anymore. But I'm just saying, we tried my voice, and I was scared. I'm like, am I on the phone with myself? It was insane. So yeah,
Crazy.
that's definitely something that we could do.
Yeah. Because what's interesting about 11 Labs, if people aren't familiar with it,
Hmm.
it is, from my understanding, it really, you're right. Like it captures, it's probably one of the best, if not the best in the industry, that captures your voice. You do have to train it, like you said. Like, you just can't talk for 30 seconds and it will get it. The more you talk to it, the more it learns your voice inflection, the way that you speak, the way that you would talk, like you and I are having a conversation right now. It learns it, and then you feed it the script of however you need to feed it in the end, which is where your system, I'm assuming, is taking that, we'll call it the voice, right? The voice itself, and then you feed it with the back end of what you guys are doing. So
Get
then
in.
then it has the conversation. So that, if I know at the beginning it could sound very robotic, but the technology, or not human, but the technology has evolved so much in that space that it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And like I said, there's also tiers on 11 Labs. So the free version isn't the best sounding one. The one I did was the professional one, which is, I don't know, I paid like $20 a month for it. So you only get one shot at it. Um, but you record yourself with a professional mic. So it sounds really, really, you do that for 2 hours. They tell you to maybe like off of a book, or they'll give you a script. It's tiring. You can
Yeah.
stop, pause, but in the end, it's so worth it, because yeah, you could use
You have a
that voice.
clone of yourself, which
You
is
could use that
crazy.
voice to
Yeah.
then plug into another platform called HeyGen or Argyle. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah.
those.
The video based ones. Yeah.
Exactly. So then you can clone yourself as a video version of yourself, plug in the voice, and it's literally you. You could create content like by the boatloads this way. It still hasn't been perfected enough for me. Like, I'm a perfectionist, so when it
Yeah.
comes to my personal brand, I
Yeah.
don't I don't use the cloning. But just imagine in like 6 months, a year down the line, like
Yeah.
how crazy this technology is going to be. So
Yeah. And you're talking specifically about video, the video side of the cloning. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. You can tell that, it's not quite there. It's not quite as human as it
it's not
could
as,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
But you're
Yeah.
right.
But
6 months from now. Yeah.
some people, like, let's say you're just, creating a page on like a niche subject, talking about, I don't know, the top luxury hotels in the world, right? Nobody really cares, right? They don't care if Justin, looks realistic or not, because they just want the content. They want the actual, what are the top four hotels. So when it comes to that, and creating kind of like a faceless account, like, or a clone account of yourself, like, nobody really, yeah. So that's what I
Man,
mean
it's,
when I say, like,
yeah.
for my own personal brand, people are gonna know it's not me, right? But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I were to create an account like of, like, the top 5 best fashion looks, like, people are gonna be more interested in what I have to say versus, is this a real person or not? So
Yeah. So right now, kind of in your business and what you're doing, how do your high volume clients find you?
right now we are doing a lot of outreach. We have a lot of great SDRs. We have a lot of great connections. Honestly, just our biggest clients have come through word of mouth and just my connections. And that's where I go back to, like, I just really believe in networking. Like, that's always been a
Yeah.
really big thing for me ever since I was a young girl. Like, ever since I was starting out in Manhattan, I knew that, like, the more people I know and the more people I connect with, you just never lose out, especially in the luxury space. And so, like I said, like, some of our biggest deals have come through just picking up the phone and being like, hey, how are you? But yeah, you definitely also have to add value. A lot of people at this point in my life, they try to connect with me, and, people try to make it like all about business. And it's like, no, like, I'm not just gonna put you on. You have to also provide value in some way, shape, or form to me as well.
Hmm. And that's a big part of it. I mean, relationship building. I had an interview recently where, you have to earn trust.
You have to earn
Trust
trust.
is,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I want to take that back. I don't want to sound like it's like, it has to be tit for tat sort of
yeah,
situation,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but it's just more like, it's just rude, right? It's
yeah,
rude. It's like have worked so hard to build myself up, and you know, kind of like I take offense to people thinking that they can just come into my bubble and my world and put in no work and have no relationship with me. It's just inauthentic. It
yeah,
has to be authentic and genuine
yeah.
in order for it to work.
I mean, have you always kind of operated that way, or is it something kind of a result of being in the industry, like
I think I think
authenticity?
I think this is kind of just you learn as you go, right? You learn
Yeah,
as you go. I'm definitely like I'm 29 years old now. If you would have told me at if I would have been talking to you at like 19 years old, like 10 years ago, it would have been a totally completely different conversation. I think you just, you fail a lot. Yeah, I've failed in
yeah,
many aspects, and yeah,
yeah.
but I've always kind of, yeah, I'm sure you have too,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
I mean, that's part of life, right? Is
Part of
failing. I
life.
mean,
You learn
yeah.
as you go.
So I'm a good 20 years older than you. I still fail all the time. Like it's just part
Right.
of, it's
Exactly.
I kind of look at it this way, like as I get older, you try to fail less because you don't want to be as stupid.
You know what? I want to add on that because
Yeah.
the way I fail now, or sorry, the way I mitigate failing now is by looking at other people in my space who are older, or maybe like people who are where I want to be. Like, for example, one of my idols is Diane von Furstenberg. I like study these people. I read their biographies and I see what did they do wrong? Where did they fail at? Okay, like let me, kind of like tailor my life to not make those mistakes. I mean, you're still gonna run into mistakes because that's just life, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
learning
I
from.
mean, that's an important thing I think you're really tapping into here is
Mm,
why try to reinvent the wheel?
yeah,
Like if somebody's already gone through the growing pains of getting there and they are somebody that
is in
you
your space. Yeah,
yeah, like idolize or admire in the space. I try not to use the word idolize, but admire in the space because if they're successful and they're kind of the check in the boxes of you're like, I want my life to be that way. I want my business to be that way. Then why, you're looking at you're following the right path because somebody's already carved it out for you,
exactly,
you
exactly.
know?
And everyone's journey is completely different. But
Yeah.
if you could mitigate certain things that have already been done in this space,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Right. And that doesn't, and you mentioned it. It doesn't mean you're never going to make a mistake. You're still going to make
Life throws you
mistakes. Yeah.
curveballs. Like, somebody could, a client could cancel tomorrow. And then what are you going to do? Freak out,
Yeah. So, kind of getting back to the business, like how you're kind of getting the word out. What marketing channels or strategies are working really, really well for you right now? There's particular social
LinkedIn.
media channels or
People sleep on LinkedIn, and I did as well. I mean, I've had LinkedIn since college. They tell you look at LinkedIn, and like I thought it was just very stuffy environment. But in the past year, my mind has changed, and I wish I hopped on sooner
Mm,
because it's actually an amazing place
it
to get
is.
clients, to get connections, because you're connecting with people who are already business minded, who are already driven, who are looking to bring their career to the next level. And for me, it's less of like, oh, what can this person do for me? Right. It's more like, how can we collaborate and take ourselves to the next level?
Yeah.
So I think that's a platform that's super overlooked. I always thought YouTube and Instagram, which by the way, we're still obviously, I still believe in those platforms
Yeah.
1000%. I've met
Yeah.
incredible people through those platforms, but now I'm looking towards LinkedIn as like a businesswoman. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, I can see
But it's
how.
how you use it though, right? That's the key uh, is not just blasting everybody saying buy my crap. It's like, okay, how you see a need, right? You have to provide value.
It's providing value, it's curating it to your industry, it's knowing what to post, knowing when
Yeah,
to post. So
yeah,
connecting with other people and not just like messaging people like, hey, try my product. It's like, again, it's like one of those things where it's like, why should I?
yeah. So is that the only platform, or are you using other platforms too?
No,
Like, are
we're
you using cold email advertising, anything like that?
cold emails. We're going to start doing Facebook ads soon. We're also going to start doing YouTube ads soon. So we're really going to blow this thing up very soon. But as of right now, everything's been mainly organic and LinkedIn outreach, just connecting with people and building relationships in the industry.
Good. So what kind of what's one in that sphere, what's one kind of marketing challenge or area that you would really like to dial in over the next 6, 12 months?
Love to master YouTube. YouTube is
Mm.
a beast in itself.
It's a great platform.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
great platform. I mean, I have TikTok down, I have Instagram down, LinkedIn, but YouTube is a whole beast which requires an entire team. Like right now, I have like a couple interns who are helping me with it because it is a lot of work. Like I have so much more respect now that I'm like fully in the YouTube space. I have respect that I didn't know. I thought people were just recording themselves and
Yeah,
posting. No, it's like the
yeah,
thumbnail down to the SEO words, the description, the hashtags, everything has to come into place. And then don't even get me started on the editing. I mean, for TikTok, it would take me sometimes to edit myself like a video max 3, 4 hours, right? Like for a one
yeah,
minute video. So
yeah,
imagine for like a video that's a long form, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour video. So much respect for editors and people who are in the creative space who do that. I know there's a lot of AI tools, especially that I use also myself, that help with the editing. But again, AI is not perfect at this point in time.
you're right. You're
It
right.
is not perfect. It is a tool. So people, the best way to use AI is as a tool, not a replacement yet.
Yeah. People think it's kind of like you hit like F12 on your keyboard, and all of a sudden you got like, I have a full YouTube hour-long edited video and everything's all done. Like, no.
Especially if you want to get into like the N8N and the automations and the making
Yeah.
comms, if you're familiar, then that's when it gets really complicated. So it's not that simple. Yeah, no.
No, it's not. Eventually maybe there'll be maybe a tool or software that would maybe even simplify it even more. But you're right. It does take an eye, and it takes way more time than people think.
100%. And also, I mean, if that were the case, if AI truly just like replaced everything at this point, then there wouldn't be real estate agents, right? But they're still there. And this is really just a tool for them, especially in the luxury space who, want some more time on their hands to focus on people who are actually going to buy.
Yeah. So as you're kind of looking forward, like you want to dial in YouTube and maybe, get that kind of mastered at some point. Talking to you, I probably know you will. You seem like a very driven individual.
Yeah.
So as you're thinking forward, what's kind of the next evolution of Swift Lead's AI, and what does that look like?
The next evolution, I mean, we're growing as the technology grows, right? So the technology is just increasing every day. Like I just created a couple videos, a couple assets of me using the technology, and it was just answering some super complex questions. And another issue that I forgot to add on, our competitive edge is the response time. Our response time is so quickly. If you look at other competitors, you'll be talking to the AI and you'll ask it a question, and it'll take like 20 seconds to respond. It responds on the dot. And so, yeah, the technology just is getting better and better, and we're staying ahead of the curve, and we're far ahead
Yeah,
of the curve. But
yeah, that's called latency.
like,
So when you ask a question, if you're using a third party, like if you're using something that's AI driven, if it takes a while for it to respond, that's called latency. So the tighter the latency, the more natural it sounds,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah.
So, okay. So are you going to look at involving video? You're all audio at the moment, right? Straight
we're
audio.
just
Okay.
voice.
Okay. Are you looking at doing video integration in the future or anything like that? Or you're kind of staying clear?
I think we're just gonna focus on voice
Okay.
AI
Okay.
because integrating video, that's just a whole other beast.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be a jack of all trades. I think it's
Yeah.
best we just stick to one thing.
Okay. So if it, right now, kind of where you're at in the business, if you could wave like a metaphorical magic wand and fix one thing in your business, what
Mhm.
would that be?
That's a good question. I would say to help brokers and brokerages kind of adopt AI a lot faster because a lot of them are, I don't want to name names, but there's a lot of brokerages in Manhattan that are very old school run by boomers who don't seem to fully understand AI and don't really want to. They want to run things the old school way, which is still working for them for the time being. But when you have the more tech excited or brokerages that are at the forefront of tech, handling things, I mean, they're going to get beat out eventually, and may not be tomorrow, may not be the next day, but eventually it's going to happen.
Eventually.
It's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah. And if they don't get on the bandwagon, I mean, yeah, they're going to be left behind.
So do you think there's an I mean, can you give an example of maybe somebody who's been interested in Swift Leads, but was really hesitant, like, kind of I'm putting myself in their shoes, like, hey, this sounds amazing, but I don't know, like it sounds weird, because I'm old school. I'm kind of playing that role right now.
They,
How would what would you say to somebody like,
well, the trust aspect just isn't there. And
mm,
no matter what you show them, you could show them video examples, you could show them real life examples, and they'll still be like questionable on it.
mm,
People, there's this one brokerage I'm thinking of, and they're just archaic and they run things archaic. I mean, the guy is like in his 90s and still running the company. So, it's just
okay,
some people just are not tech people or tech savvy, and it is what it is. And I mean, I guess it works for them because they've been in the industry for like decades and they know all these people. But eventually, the chickens are gonna come to roost, if that's the saying. So
yeah, something like that. It's something like that. Yeah,
the chickens are gonna come to roost for them because
yeah,
they're gonna,
yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah, I was just curious, like how you would broach that, because sometimes you just like, I've had conversations here. They're like, AI, isn't that just Chat GPT? And you just put in like,
yeah.
no, it's not. I mean,
I
well,
mean,
kind of, but
speaking of like speaking of like women, being in the real estate world. I mean, the real estate world, like I said, it's as an agent, it's a dominated industry by women. AI, mean, it's like I think I read something like only 20% of AI is women. So
okay.
really, and I mean, all of my friends are just using Chat GPT and unaware of these different tools. I mean, I'm overwhelmed every day. I'm learning
Yeah,
so many different tools. I can't even keep up, and I'm like on it every day.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really scared for the future of women specifically. I don't mean to make it this whole like feminist thing
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
that's not really my,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
I
the
know what you mean. Yeah,
feminist person, but it's like I really truly am because I mean the men are all on it. Like they're all on AI. And like I said, there's been studies done. I think Harvard or MIT put out a study that women are really the ones that are at risk when it comes to these jobs.
if you are a lady watching this and want to get to the forefront, you should talk to Samantha and get her stuff. We'll talk about how to get in touch with her in a minute. I have a couple more questions for you before we kind of get there. Uh, I mean, you're 29, you said, right?
29, yeah.
Late 20s. Okay. So this question might sound a little weird, but I'm going to
Okay.
ask it anyway. If you could give your younger self,
Okay.
one piece of advice, business advice, what would that be? So one piece of business advice you would give to your younger self, what would that
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself because I mean, who I am today is this confident, strong person who is so assured of myself. Like I could lose everything tomorrow, like everything could go to crap tomorrow, and I would still be able to have the confidence to say, I'd be upset obviously for a few days, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but I would still have the confidence in myself to stand up on my own 2 feet. And I think when I was much younger, I kind of like relied on a lot of people, meaning like I would just lean on others for their guidance and their opinions. And now I'm just like, no, like my opinion is right, because time and time again, I've seen, you know what? Like I should have trusted my gut. I should have
Yeah.
listened to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's an interesting thing you bring up. Instincts play a lot into the entrepreneurship
It
journey,
does. It does.
myself included.
Yes.
Like your gut is telling you something. It's your instincts are telling you something. And it's gonna be, in some cases, it's the complete opposite of what everyone else is telling you. Uh,
1000%. And
and when
I hear
yeah,
this from, by the way, across the board. Like I've spoken to some uber successful people in the city, and they all say the same thing. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're
yeah,
doing. Not
yeah,
even, Elon Musk. People
you gotta
are just,
figure it out.
yeah. And another thing I want to touch on now that we're on that subject is that I think men are allowed to be delusional in entrepreneurship, even in life. And I think women are not.
Mm,
Because if you look at all the greatest men who have been successful, Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks, they're all, they all had a dream, and everybody told them they're crazy, you're ridiculous. Like I've heard stories, anecdotes from people that Elon Musk was like sleeping on their couch at one point out in Silicon Valley, and nobody believed in these people, and look where they're at. And I think as women, like we're told we're crazy, and nobody's there to really like, for us. And
there's something I learned a little while back. Can't remember exactly where I learned it. It's in psychology. It's called the competent confidence loop. So the more competent you are, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more competent you become, because you understand that it's a spiral upwards versus a spiral downwards,
interesting.
because you're learning. You're and I can imagine, and I'm trying not to put words in your mouth here, but it's you've learned, right? You're learning, and you failed along the way. We've talked about that. That's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the ups and the downs, but the ups are, you're like, you figured it out. Like you literally said, okay, well, I think there's a need in the marketplace for voice AI, specifically for the luxury industry, because you saw a need. Well, you just didn't hit F12 on your keyboard and it was done. Like you took action on that, right? Guarantee you there's probably people along the way that didn't believe in you, or didn't that told negative stuff, right?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
beginning I heard, "Oh, there's so many businesses out there like that." And I'm like, "So what? We have an amazing product and we separate ourselves from the competition." I mean, that's like comparing like Uber and Lyft. I mean, I use Lyft daily. Uber exists, but they're still standing.
So let me ask you a question, and it's coming from a little bit of naivete here. As a female, businesswoman, young female entrepreneur, like you're out there grinding it out, you're building a business, you're doing whatever you need to do to get that done, you're not afraid to fail. What would you tell another female entrepreneur that may be wavering, that might not have the people around them to support them,
Mm,
that have a dream for something but don't know how to realize it? What would you say to a female
that's really tough.
comrade? I don't know how you say that, but what I mean.
Rade, or yeah, that's a really tough question, because for me, I mean, it's lonely. Entrepreneurship is very lonely and it's very glamorized, but the reality is there has been many nights where I have been completely like down and unhappy, to say the least, and feeling alone because I've had to take myself out of those dark situations and, believe in myself. And not everyone is cut out for it, actually. So
Yeah.
that I think that's the advice I would give is like you either have it. I don't want to say you either have it or you don't. But that's kind
Yeah.
of what it is, honestly. Yeah. Like you either have it or you don't.
Yeah. Be willing to step into the unknown, right?
Yeah.
To
It's not
work
it's
through it.
sexy. It's not glamorous. It's
No, it's not.
a lot of work.
There's great moments, like, don't get me wrong, like the
Yeah.
freedom, the
Yeah.
stuff like that, but I agree with you. It's
You
not
can, I think
not for the
you can
faint of heart.
fun. On social media, you can make it look fun and
Oh, yeah.
exciting. You're
Yeah.
going to these events, you're with
Yay. Yeah.
who, and you're on podcasts and yay. And it's like, no, that's like not exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
But what you're not covering are the moments where you're in your living room drinking a glass of wine wondering, "Why the hell did I do this?" You know what I mean?
Been there,
Oh
totally
my gosh. We're just
going
like,
down.
I want to put my head through a wall like,
You're
"Oh
just
my
like,
gosh, why
why
did I
can't
do
you
this?"
go and get a regular
Stress.
job and just, but then you
Yeah.
realize in those few moments, like where you make a breakthrough, you're like, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
This is why. So,
So I haven't asked this with anybody yet, but it kind of sparked something for me.
mm,
Is okay, in the journey of entrepreneurship,
mhm,
it's not a 9 to 5 job. I mean,
stop.
you're living and breathing it all the time. Like,
Mhm.
for me, in my case, it's like 24/7 feels like 7 days a week,
And you have wild hours, by the way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I make my own hours. I'll go to 12 p.m. Pilates,
Yeah.
but
But
then I'm
yeah,
up till 4 a.m.
yeah, you know what I mean? So what do you do? Have you figured out, I mean, you're still on the younger side and I'm not trying to be ageist here. That's not what I'm going for here.
Because you know what? It comes with age. Like I said, like 19-year-old me versus
Yeah.
29-year-old me is like night and day.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Being 29, driven, what do you do to breathe? To take space for yourself?
Yeah.
Is that a daily thing? Is it once a quarter you go away and get out of town, like escape the city and just like, I need to get out of here? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, travel and have a good system of friends who are like-minded. That is really important for me, by the way. Having like-minded friends in the city. I mean, I have friends through all walks of life, but when I'm with like my friends who really get me and like are kind of on the same path, that's a really important thing for me to have.
Hmm.
Just going out, having a social life. And by the way, a lot of people are against that. I saw the CEO of Palantir, I forget his name, but he gave an interview recently and he said, if you want to be successful, you are not going to have a social life in your 20s. And I'm actually so against that. I think that is
Agreed.
true.
Oh, yeah.
I think that, yeah, I don't care how, I mean, he's a multi-billionaire or whatever, but I'll still disagree with him because I don't think you have to sacrifice your social life to be successful. Like, I'm successful in what I do, and I'm here today because I maintained my social life and I kept those connections. So
Right.
I don't know. I think that, yeah, I guess like for somebody who's like literally at the computer all day and just like building things, I guess sure. But there's different types of success and there's different ways to be successful. And
Well,
sometimes,
yeah, your version of success is different than mine.
yeah, you go out and next thing you know, you're meeting your co-founder just casually while you're having a drink. So yeah.
And here you go. Like, that's where you land. Okay. Two more questions for you. One, the second to last question I have for you is, what do you hope, listeners or people watching this, interview of us having a chat today, what do you want to have them walk away with after hearing your story, your journey? If you're to kind of leave somebody with one thing, what would that be?
It's so cliche, but that nothing is impossible. Yeah. I mean, coming from the background that I do, like I'm, daughter of two immigrants, lower middle class background, and I'm not ever ashamed to say that because it's shaped me for fire under my ass. It's yeah, never be ashamed of never forget where you came from. Yeah, that's what I want people to walk away with this from.
That's true. I wholeheartedly believe that the same way. Like, nothing's impossible. sell ourselves short in a way sometimes because you don't think it's possible, or
I've
you
seen
know what I
it,
mean? Like you're not capable of doing it.
and I've seen people with limited mindsets, and then, what when they see the fruition or the fruits of your labor and they see you actually living it, that's when people start to support. But when you're in the midst of it, they're like, no way, that's not possible. Like, they think
Yeah.
that it's completely out of reach. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing is out of reach in this life. So,
So the core of that would be belief,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm strong. I'm a very spiritual person, actually. So I guess that also ties into your question of like, what do you like? How do you kind of like for everything? Religion keeps me grounded. Spirituality keeps me grounded. So
Yeah. I mean, it's a very important part of, I mean, I also come from a spiritual background as well. So it's the anchor, the foundation of which we build on, right? So at least how I see it. Okay. Last question. This is more of a fun one.
okay,
What is there anything in particular you'd like to promote or highlight in this podcast episode?
go follow me on Samalytics at Samalytics. That is my personal sort of like where I talk about tech trends, business, AI. Just started it a couple months ago and I'm already at 13,000 followers. Not bad.
Sweet.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I haven't been consistent because of like other obligations, but I am going to start posting daily on there, and it's exciting because it's stuff that I'm passionate about. So
Sweet. Well, we'll put a link to that around this video. I bet you we could talk forever on AI and the fun stuff with that. So I really admire what you're doing
thank you.
with Swift Leads. If you want to check out Swift Leads, it's swiftleads.ai if you want to learn more about that, her platform on that. And then we'll put,
SwiftlyAI.com.
yeah, yeah, dot AI, right? Swift Leads.
SwiftlyAI.com.
Oh, swiftleadsai.com. Okay. All right. My bad. Thank you for correcting me. Check her out. She's got some great stuff. She's a woman on the rise. So appreciate what you're doing, and appreciate you sharing your story with me today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.